yourself or suffer the consequences. The wisdom of Elijah's inside of the conscientious. So I move with it.
The drug companies want the psychiatrists and psychologists to rush in and diagnose, because if you don't diagnose, that script won't get written. So they want everybody in the gray area to be included in the area with people who clearly have disability, because they need prescriptions to be written.
Right.
It's the law of capitalism, supply and demand. We need a demand for these meds, and the only way we're going to get a demand for these meds is if y'all diagnose people who really don't have the problem, which is why in most states, the psychologists and psychiatrists must diagnose something in order to get paid for the evaluation.
Wow.
So you come in.
Yeah.
I know this is just a regular bout of sadness or temporary depression.
Yeah.
But I don't get my reimbursement from your insurance unless I diagnose you.
Wow.
Which is why I tell Black folks to be careful. Because if you go sniffing for a diagnosis, you're going to get one. You're going to get one. Because most diagnoses that we use can't be proven to exist scientifically. You understand?
Wow.
When they create the DSM-5, that's the Bible where all the diagnoses are.
Yeah.
That's
you talk about that a lot. Yeah.
That's not science. That's not a scientific manual.
Right.
They vote on committee.
Oh, wow.
Over these disorders.
So none of that stuff is proven.
None of it's proven.
Okay.
There is some research behind it, but it's not conclusive.
Right.
You see, it's all about what is socially acceptable and financially lucrative to the drug companies.
Wow. So it feels like there's a lot of misappropriation of mental health in the term. And even especially now, even within our community, we find it's almost become a buzzword.
Yes.
And you know,
a lot of drug companies love that.
Yeah. And a lot of people have been accused of marketing mental health and making money. I mean, even you in times, they would even say, like, in different conversations, my brother Charlemagne, a bunch of people who are actually stepping up and speaking about, you know, Black men having mental health. But I see there's this other side that's starting to say, you know, well, why are we bringing that up? Or why are you, it's almost calling it an excuse or another way to make money. How do you feel about that?
Okay. They're both right and they're both wrong. We clearly have mental health issues in the Black community.
Yeah.
Clearly. I know people who've been sexually abused. I know people who've been verbally abused, physically abused. I know people who are depressed, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, bipolar, borderline, suicide. And you know, Black men and suicide is going through the roof, by the way.
Yeah, facts.
I get a call. I probably get 6 calls a year for Black men who are either attempting or have successfully committed suicide. This week, I've already gotten 2 calls.
Wow.
But this was not Black men. These was both Black women.
Wow.
So suicide for men and women are going up. And suicide is the silent illness because people don't like to tell that they're suicidal. And you don't even know that they were until they're gone.
Right.
You see.
Facts.
So we do have mental health issues. The problem is what, though, Nick? We don't want those mental health issues to be exploited by the drug companies for profit, because the drugs don't solve problems.
Right.
See, when you get diagnosed with depression, the best way to work with you, and I'm a therapist, is to talk you through that. Let's find out the sources of your depression. Let's reinterpret them. Let's give them a meaning in your life that is more empowering than the one you have now. Let's switch out the beliefs that you associate with your future, your past, and your current situation. Let's move you out of that.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time.
Right.
But the only way to do it is through traditional talk therapy.
Right.
But the drug company has bullied the American Psychiatric Association into saying what? Everybody who gets diagnosed with depression must take meds. You follow me? So yes, we're going to give you talk therapy, but we need you to pop one of these Prozacs, one of these Zoloft. Why you need the medicine at all? Because they got to make sure they get their cut. Because guess what, Nick? If Dr. Umar, Nick is a therapist, we both therapists, and we healing people with no medicine, that is a threat to the profit margin of the drug company. They don't want you talking about we can solve this without the meds. So they bullied the mental health system into telling everybody, yes, you need talk therapy, but you also need some medication too. Here's the other point I want to make. Psychology has never been the friend of Black people. What do I mean by that? Do you realize that the segregation system, white supremacy itself, was born in the mind of the psychologists? It was the psychologists who gave birth to Black people are animals, white people are gods. You follow what I'm saying? It was and all their names are escaping me right now. But all of the white fathers of psychology believed in African racial inferiority. Eugenics.
Freud, all of them.
All of them.
Darwin, his cousin.
Exactly. All of them. So when you say black people need to go to the psychologist, I'm saying you're sending them to the same people who engineered the popular beliefs of not only.
All right. Yes, indeed. Family. Here we go. All right. Let me get that out of here. All right. What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. This is the Black Business Showcase. I am the God, Sincere Love, here with my lovely co-host, Nicey girl. How you doing tonight, beloved?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good.
How was your travels?
Good. It was good money. I was in and out like a robbery,
man,
real quick. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of crazy, man. I flew in Monday night. I was my flight had got delayed, so I actually didn't land until about 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And I had booked a rental car with my flight through Expedia.
Right.
And so I get to the rental car place. I'm gonna tell y'all my business real quick. I get to the rental car place, and I got to go through the whole rental process already. I already paid for the car, you know what I'm saying? But through Expedia, which is a third party. But when I get to the actual rental car place, they take you through the whole process all over again. And so they had to run my credit.
No,
they gotta take a $500 deposit, and they can only use the card that I used to book my itinerary. Right. Which was a PayPal card that I use for a lot of online stuff because you get rewards and stuff like that. And so I didn't have the $500 on that card. So they would not let me get no card. I was in the airport until the banks opened the next morning where I could transfer the money into the PayPal account to get the card.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And then I flew back today. Today, everything was smooth. But just getting back here, trying to get settled and get everything set up for the show. I was a little bit all over the place, but we here though. And we got another great episode coming up for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that y'all hit that like button, share this out on your social media platforms. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new episodes. We do the Black Business Showcase every Wednesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And make sure y'all check us out on Sundays as well for our regular broadcast where we cover current event topics and other issues that are important to what's going on in the Black community well. And that's Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. So make sure y'all check us out for that. In the meantime, let me let y'all know who we got on the show today. And actually, I'm gonna share this while I read y'all this bio real quick. Give me 1 second, family. All right, here we go. Oh, actually, let me make this bigger. Is it on the screen? No, not yet. All right,
no, not yet.
Here we go. Peace, everybody. I see y'all coming into the chat. What's going on with y'all? All right, so today, so you can see the screen, right?
I can see the screen.
And you can hear me?
Yes.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna put this on the whole screen. All right. So today we are joined by our brother Daryl Fletcher, who is the founder of Soofa Ranch, which is a horse ranch company down here in Georgia. So let me tell y'all a little bit about that right now. With over 40 years of experience with horses, Daryl L. Fletcher brings a unique flair to equine assisted services. Daryl spent his summers on his grandparents' farm learning agriculture, ranching, and valuable life lessons on the farm. He saw how nature and horses can change the life of a young man by helping build connection, confidence, and character. As a former youth pastor, Daryl dreamed of the opportunity to connect his love of horses with his love of people. From his time as a child, he knew the great impact a horse could have on a child's life. He desired to create a space for young adolescents to learn how to handle anxiety, fear, and anger issues. Daryl is a member of Path International. Path International is the organization that promotes equine assistant activities. Path offers certifications. Hold on, I'm gonna play that again. Hold on, I'm gonna let that keep playing while I'm talking. Where am I? Path offers certifications for instructors and accredited centers in order to uphold high standards of safety and excellence in the industry. At Soofa, we use horses to change the lives of people. Our programs include helping children and adults overcome anxieties, build confidence, and helping individuals become better communicators. We truly believe that connection with horses leads to better connection with people. Our programs include riding lessons, trail rides, and equine assisted coaching. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our guest for this evening, Mr. Daryl Fletcher. Welcome to the
what's going
podcast, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you having me, man.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yes, sir. Taking the time to be with us. We definitely appreciate that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
So how's everything going with you, man?
Everything's going good. Things are moving, and it's a real exciting time here at Soofa Ranch. Soofa. The word Soofa actually is an acronym. I know a lot of people see the spelling. A lot of people see the spelling of it and they pronounce it Soofa, but it's actually pronounced Sofa. And Sofa is an acronym basically meaning stretch out on faith again, which fundamentally, we have people who are in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, 50s, even 60s, and even 70s that come out to the ranch, and maybe there's something that was in their life that they wanted to do. Maybe there was something that was in their life that they tried and it didn't work out. Fundamentally, we want to provide an atmosphere where, you know what, maybe it didn't work the first time, but you can stretch out on faith and try it again. So we want to cultivate that atmosphere. We are at the core. We want to help people overcome anxieties, build confidence, and build better communication skills, and even learn how to build connection. And it's in a very unique atmosphere because we use horses to do that. So a lot of people are not familiar with equine therapy or equine assisted learning situations. And that's one of the things that we like to do, especially exposing it to people of color, because it provides an avenue where persons, just like on the prelude video, persons can have an opportunity to overcome those anxieties and learn how to work through situations minus any medical drugs or anything. So at the end of the day, we want to help people build confidence, build character, and build connection through equine assisted learning situations.
Yes, indeed. It's a very interesting and unique concept. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it was definitely foreign to me.
Right.
When I first came across your page, I just thought it looked like a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? But as I started to look into your content and checking out your website and everything, and I seen that the equine therapy thing, I'm like, okay, well, this is something else. So
that's actually very strategic, very intentional, and very on purpose. We do it that way to expose, because equine assisted learning or equine assisted services are not new. This is something that has been existing for decades, where people have been utilizing horses for therapy type services. However, it is something that is maybe new to the Black community and people of color.
Right.
And so we use trail rides, just going through the woods or going down a dirt road, as opportunities to introduce people into those equine and therapeutic services. Why? Because if I told you, hey, come get some therapy, you're gonna be like, no, I don't know about that. But if I tell you, and like when I do things on TikTok and Instagram and I make it look like an exciting time, you're like, oh shucks, that's fun. But what happens when people come to Soofa Ranch, the one of the things that they say, we are currently on 75 acres, and when they're riding through the woods or they're riding a big open field, one of the things that people often say to me is like, oh my gosh, this is so therapeutic. And that's the way we introduce people into those types of services. Because once again, if I just try to tell you, hey, you need some therapy, then you're not going to, I don't need to hear that. But if I tell you this type of experience is very therapeutic and it opens you up to a variety of techniques and a variety of approaches, now I have the hook in your jaw and you're ready to learn more. So on our trail rides, we take people out and we give people an opportunity for meditation. We give people an opportunity for a moment of silence. Maybe you want to say a prayer, whatever it is you want to do in that minute. Take that moment. You're standing still with the horses. You're in an open field, and you're listening to the wind blow through the trees. You're listening to the birds, and you get this sudden feel of comfort.
Peace.
Yes, peace. And I've had a gentleman that come to the ranch, and he actually lives in Gwinnett County, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" He was like, "Now we talking about a brother now." You know what I'm saying? So he's like, he get out there, he on the horse. He was like, "Man, this is just so crazy, man. This is like," he couldn't just really capture the experience that he was having with words. He's like, "Man, I don't hear any sirens. I don't hear any bass coming down the street. I don't hear any dogs barking. I just hear peace."
Just nature.
And so many people, yes. And so many people don't have that experience. And so that's one of the things that we like to provide here at Soofa Ranch. And like I said, everything we do is intentional and it's on purpose. So even the names of our horses, we have a horse named Peace. We have a horse named Hope. We have a horse named Joy. We have a horse named Truth and Wisdom and Purpose and Greatness and Justice and Freedom and Dream and Grace. And all these horses provide that holistic approach, provide that holistic experience. So when I introduce you to the horse that you're going to be riding, I say, "Hey, today you're going to be riding Peace." And you're like, "Oh my gosh, I need some peace in my life." Or say, "Hey, I'm going to be introducing you to, today you're going to be riding Purpose." You know what? I need to find out what I'm going to do with my life. Everything is intentional at Soofa Ranch so that we will have an opportunity to give a person that holistic approach and therapeutic riding experience.
Can I ask you, are horses like, say, dogs in a way where they know their names? If I call my dog Louie, when you're calling Peace and Purpose, are they aware of their names when you speak to them?
You can train a horse to respond to just about anything.
Okay.
Our horses don't necessarily respond to their name. They respond to certain verbal cues. And then horses are herd animals. So just yesterday, my wife and I, we were out walking the property and we had the horses in the field. And one of our lead horses, her name is Grace. And so Grace has been with me for the longest. And so Grace knows me probably the best, and I know Grace the best. And so I will do a little whistle and I'll say, I'll do like that. And that's the cue for Grace to move. Or I may make a clicking sound like this. And if I do that, Grace knows to move. So I'm sitting in the middle of the field and I whistle. Grace puts her head up. And now we're talking about 9 horses in this field. Grace puts up her head and Grace walks towards me. Now, when Grace walks towards me, all the rest of the animals follow behind Grace. She's the herd leader. So people respect the herd leader. So when Grace moves, the herd moves. And so I came up, rubbed her a little bit, loved on her a little bit, showed her a little affection, and went on about my business. But that's just an instance where we learn how to connect. We use horses to teach people how to connect. So many times we go into networking events. So many times we go into business rooms, and we don't necessarily know how to connect in that particular room. And so we start feeling awkward, and we may miss out on an opportunity where a person really wanted to speak to us, but there really wasn't that connection. And then there are other times where you go into a room and somebody you don't know, and boom, there's a spark. All of a sudden, you're like, "Man, I feel like I've known this person a long time." And so we teach people how to be mindful of the energy that they have. We teach people how to be mindful of their presence and mindful of their emotions when they come into a room. And so because the horse can pick up on those emotions, the horse can pick up on that energy. And so now when we're working with people and we start asking them questions about what are you feeling in this moment? What is going on with you mentally? What are you thinking about? Then the horse responds a different way. Now we can begin to pinpoint what their emotions are doing. And when we begin to pinpoint what their emotions are doing, now we can give them a way that, or teach them how to show up and be present, how to show up and be in the room, how to show up and have the proper energy way before you even get into the room, so that there's a connection and not a place of disconnection.
Man, so you're already giving us a lot of heavy jewels, you know what I'm saying, with this whole horse therapy situation. And I love it. And just to be clear, when I come out to the ranch, I want to ride Justice. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's my horse.
That's right.
That's my horse. You know what I mean?
So,
And I love what you said about you know, your intentionality with the marketing by putting basically the medicine in the candy. You know what I'm saying? And not leading with the therapy, but, you know, making it a fun experience that people want to come out and let their guard down. And then they actually lead themselves into what is needed to get out of the situation.
Exactly. It's just human nature. When you try to force something on someone, they naturally resist. And that's one of the way we actually train horses. We train horses. Horses don't like pressure. So if I want to train a horse to turn right, I'll push him right. And the moment he releases and doesn't respond to the pressure, then I let go. So if he fights me, then we're just two opposing forces. But the moment he gives up, I let go. I release the pressure. And so we have to learn, nicely. As we were talking about, you know, horses are very similar to women. You can probably acquiesce to this and testify to this, that, you know, there may be a guy that may be really pursuing you, and when he pursues you, you're like, ugh, I don't. You give me you too much pressure. But the moment he goes ghost, you like, where he at?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so horses are very similar when it comes to pressure. You know, you'll try to push them and force them to do something. But the moment that pressure is off, they're like, okay, what do you want me to do? So it's like we were talking earlier, horses can teach men how to become better communicators and how better lovers to their companion. And horses are such unique creatures. And I've been working with them consistently for the last, I would say, the 10 years of my life. And I've actually been riding since I was 7 years old. I'm now 45. And it's one of those things where you're always learning something. You're always paying attention. When I was telling Sincere that I used to be a relationship coach. And as a relationship coach, I used to do this teaching with men. It was called Don't Just Pay Bills, Pay Attention. And it's very, very similar to, you know, how I work with horses. It's about paying attention. How do I become more aware of my surroundings? How do I become more aware of what's going on? How do I show up and be present and assertive and confident, but not cocky? And so it's one of those things where, as a man that works with horses, every time they move, I'm reminded of some relationship that I could have, or a relationship that I can build. So it's very important to, as I work with horses, we bring this and expose this to more people, so a horse can actually make you a better human being.
I love that. When so you know, this era, or the last few years, we should say a long time, ADD, ADHD has been a thing in our community, especially with the boys. Have you worked with boys or girls that have ADD, ADHD with the horses, and how did the horse and the children respond to that?
Well, if I go back to what Dr. Umar was talking about, a lot of people are diagnosed with certain things, but it's just really not necessarily. It's a push for those drugs. And so I actually have an after school program where I work with young men and young women, and they come out to the ranch and they come out to help us and just learn all the different aspects of horsemanship. And I have worked with some young men who would we count or say that may have ADHD, or but maybe not be a diagnosis or show behaviors of ADHD. And in working with that, once you tell a person or teach a person about the importance of paying attention in the moment, I had a young lady where I had to raise my voice in order to get her attention. And her mother was sitting there, and her mother pulled me to the side and says, well, in our house we don't raise our voices, and I'm tall, I'm 6'7". And
Wow.
she was like, she's like, you're a big guy, you might be intimidating. And I asked the mother, I said, would you rather me raise my voice to your child and get her attention, or would you rather me allow a horse to kick her?
Right.
Because her not paying attention is the dividing line of her safety. And so when she put it like that, when I put it like that, she was like, well, yeah, you're right. And da da da. I said, well, if you tell me I'm right, then allow me to do my method, because your daughter wasn't paying attention. And if I'm telling her how to do something with the horse, and the horse turns around and nudges her or kicks her or something happens, then you're going to come to me and say, hey, Mr. Fletcher, you let my daughter get hurt. So would you rather me raise my voice to get her attention, or do you want your daughter to get hurt?
Right.
And she didn't have anything to say after that. So to go circle back to the position of ADHD and working with those kids, we have worked with a wide range of children that have different types of issues, from anxiety, ADHD, depression, all these different things.
Autism,
yes. Autism. We had a young man that came out maybe 2 weeks ago, and he was on the spectrum, and so he didn't have fully autistic, but he was on the spectrum. And one of the things that horses, I love seeing it with autistic children and children who are on the spectrum, they become so verbal, they become so open, and just talking. And because that's one of the signs or one of the symptoms of autism in people who may be on the spectrum, they become reclusive. They're not as they don't communicate as much. And so this particular gentleman, we took him on a therapeutic ride, and the therapeutic ride is where as he's riding, he has someone on the side of him, and we're talking and we're working things, and he's rubbing the horse. And as he's rubbing the horse, we're asking him certain questions to pull out that communication with him. And so it was just one of those moments where I was walking with him, and he was like, oh man, this is cool. Full complete sentences.
Cool.
Oh man, this is, I like this. And so I asking him open in, and as an equine specialist, we're trained to ask questions in such a manner that we will get those open-ended questions, get that out of him, so he will start using those communication skills, because now he's connecting the feeling with the words that he uses. And so when we got back to the barn, he's rubbing on the horse and like, oh man, this is cool. And then we give him an opportunity to give him the horse some treats, and so now he's asking questions. Why is she doing blank? Why is she doing this? So now we're connecting all those dots and creating that environment to where now when he goes back and see his therapist, or if he's working with us with so many different issues or challenges, now we're getting to see like, oh my gosh, okay, so now as he comes more, we connect those feelings with those words he's using. And so when he's going home then that feeling comes, he's like, oh, I know the words, I can pull these words out my memory bank. And so it's one of those things that, once again, what I'm doing is not new. It's not, I haven't invented anything. It's just something that has been exposed that has not been exposed to people of color. And so now we have, as just last week, I was in my continuing education certification class and I was the only male and the only person of color in the room.
Wow.
And what that what that tells me is that we are not represented in that space
At all.
And so if we're not represented in that space, it's very important for children who are who look like us get the opportunity to see people like me do what I do. Some NBC News did a story on me and my ranch some months ago, and some other articles posted, and I posted it online. And somebody made the question or said the question, said, why is it important, or why does it matter that a Black person owns a ranch? And typically I don't respond to trolls, but I had to respond to this one. And I broke it down into 3 words: legacy, representation, and opportunity.
Yes.
Legacy is important because my grandparents owned a ranch and owned a farm in a little place in Inglewood, Florida. And that's where I spent a lot of my summers there working on that ranch. What sits there now is a bank. There's no record of my grandfather. There's no history of my family's land. We have just been etched out of history. They go before, but before it was a bank, it was a racerama type place before it was that. And so the reason why owning 75 acres is so important is because it's one of those things about my grandchildren, about my children, that we now have an opportunity to pass on a legacy. The other important part of representation is I run a youth equestrian program for after-school students for ages 9 to 17, but we also have a summer camp coming up. And so our summer camp, it runs from June 6th to July the 29th. And so we have archery, horsemanship, we have alpacas on the land, goats, chickens, and
hold on, archery. Are you on the horse shooting
no,
arrows?
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. That's a whole nother thing. But we'll have different people coming out to the ranch and talking about, all the different things of learning agriculture and things of that nature. And the reason why that's so important is last year I did an internship program with 3 young men. And these 3 young men worked on my farm and worked on my ranch. And they would be there Monday through Friday and sometimes on Saturday. And so we're working. I mean, we sweat. And these young men are 15, 16, and 17 years old, right? And they see all the work that I'm putting in. And one of them he says, Mr. Fletcher, how old are you? I said, I'm 44 years old. He's like, man, I don't want to be doing this when I'm 44. So he saw it as work. But I saw it as I'm working the land. And so I didn't say anything to him at the time, but I was planning my rebuttal. So one day we're in the truck and we're going to get supplies. And I said, we'll call him Junior. I said, Junior, what kind of car you want to drive when you get older? And he told me what kind of car he want to drive. And I asked the other young man, and I asked the other young man. And then I said, how much money do you think you have to make in order to be able to afford that type of car? So they was like, this amount, $5,000, $6,000, maybe $7,000 a month. And so they was giving all these different numbers. And so then I pulled up my phone to show up my monthly receipts. And I said, how much money do you think I make running this farm? They were like, I don't know, maybe a couple of thousand, I said, and so at that time, I had 2 phones and I would answer my phones. And he said, you see my phone ringing all day, don't you? He said, yeah, I see your phone ringing all day. I said, how much money do you think I made last month? And he was like, I don't know, whatever. So I pulled out my receipts, for my merchant account. And we're a nonprofit, by the way, but we use the profits from all the work that we do to subsidize the therapy and all the other different things. So I showed him how much that I made that last month. And that last month we had receipts upwards of $20,000. And he looked at me, he said, "You did that last month?" Mm-hmm. I said, "Yep." I said, and I'll probably do more than that this month because the month is not over and I'm more than halfway there. So he sat back in the car and he said, and I had the conversation with him. I said, "This is not work. This is an investment. This is an investment into the lives of people like you. This is a part of my dream. I'm doing what I love to do. This is not a job for me.
Right.
I do this so that I can reach young men like you. But guess what? I'm getting paid to do it." And he said, "You know what? When I'm 44 years old, I want to be doing exactly what you're doing what I love to do."
Right.
And I said,
"That's I gotta get that machine over here so I could drop bombs, man. When I'm doing stuff like
right.
that. Like I need my bomb button right now, man."
So essentially, that's the experience that we want to bring to countless young men. Last year, we served over 2,000 people with equine assisted services. We have a goal to reach over 8,000 people over the next 3 years and be able to quadruple that number, because once again, people come to the ranch and they think they're coming for, just to ride through the woods, but they don't really realize that they're actually going to get a therapy session. And as a therapy session, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I need to come back next week." I had one young gentleman, he booked a ride for 10 o'clock. And then after his ride, he's like, "You know what? When the next time you going out?" Which was my 11:30. He's like, "All right, I'm going to book a 11:30 ride." Because it's, once again, in this day and time, we have gotten so bogged down with technology. And I'm an advocate for technology. I love technology. However, we don't understand and recognize the nature side of things and how you go to, you might be a vegan or you might be, a carnivore and you eat meat. But what's the actual process of, that thing? So on the ranch, we have an agricultural initiative where we'll be growing microgreens for, and showing young men and young women how to grow microgreens. And if you're taking notes, this will be a great place to take notes. Okay, so the initiative that we are using for agriculture is what we call the 6 P's to success. The 6 P's to success are purpose, preparation, planning, process, persistence, and passion. Those are the 6 P's of success. And I want you to look at it this way. Passion is to your success is what gas is to your car. And in these present times, we understand the importance of gas. You can have a nice car. You could be sound booming, tricked out, clean. But if you don't have no gas in it, you're not going to go
nowhere.
And that's what passion is to your success. Question: what are you passionate about? You have to ask yourself that question. What are you passionate about? Because if you don't understand what you're passionate about, it should be connected to a problem that needs to be solved. If you can take your passion, connect it to a problem, and then solve an issue. The reason why? People will pay you to solve their problem. Right. So I get paid to solve anxiety. I get paid to solve boredom. I get paid to solve the problem of helping people work through different variety of issues. But guess what my passion is? People and horses. So I took my passion, solved the problem, and now I have an opportunity to reap the benefits from it.
And serve your people.
Exactly. So now I'm passionate about something. But now I have to understand the purpose behind it? What's the why? Because when you understand your why, your what becomes a whole lot easier. Most people struggle with the what. Okay, so let's give an example. What's the what? I want to lose weight. Okay, so you struggle with going to the gym and eating right. And see, that's the what. But you have not fallen in love with the why. See, if you let the why be your anchor, your why will pull you to your victory. And here's what that looks like. Yes, I don't like going to the gym. Yes, I don't like eating right. But I understand why I'm doing it. I want to live longer. And I want to reap the health benefits.
Excuse me.
And so if I understand my why, guess what? I can endure my what. Then you have your preparation. How do you set things up? How are you going to play it out? What do I need? What's my prerequisite? What do I need before I even start? And then I have to create a plan. The plan is basically the route that I'm going to take. The GPS will tell me you got to make a left turn, you got to make a right turn, you got to do this, you got to go that. All these different things. So that's a part of the plan. And then the process. Now, this is where most people struggle because they are passionate, they know their why, they even are prepared, and they even have a plan, but they're not willing to go through the process. Think of it this way. You want to go to the mall to buy a shirt. You go, you know what? You are prepared. You know why you're going to the mall. You got your driver's license. There's gas in the car. But if you're not willing to get up off your sofa and go get in the car, turn the ignition, actually drive to where you got to get to, you'll never get that shirt. And so that's what people struggle with. People struggle with the actual process. And then even in the process, there's some stop signs, there's some red lights, there's traffic. So guess what you got to be? You got to be persistent. You got to be persistent. You can't let the hiccups stop you from going and accomplishing your agenda. I want to tell a quick story. So right now we sit on 75 acres. I started with 3 horses, and I was renting or leasing other people's horses that I knew. I was leasing 12 acres of land, and I had found 200 acres of land that I wanted to buy. Spoke to the owners. The owners were, all right, great. We love the work that you do. We're gonna lease you the land for 3 years, and when we lease you the land, you can buy it from us in 3 years, and yada yada yada, and boom boom boom. They gave me the key to the land. I moved to the land, and within a month's time, the owners changed their mind. I went from 3 horses to now I have 12 horses. I got all my stuff on these people's property, and they gave me 48 hours to move.
Wow.
The reason why I bring that story up is because that was a dagger into my mission. That was a dagger into my plan. That was a dagger into my goal. And I really wanted to give up. So thankfully, my mom owns 5 acres of land, and I was able to move the horses to there and kind of run my business from those 5 acres. But if you know anything about horses, 12 horses and 5 acres of land is no place to run a business because it overwhelms the land. So I'm looking and looking and looking and looking and looking and frustrated, looking and frustrated and looking and frustrated and looking. And then I find this land that we currently own. And it was it had a house on it. It already had a barn on it. And it had everything basically set up the way I wanted it. I ended up selling my current house My wife and I, we sold our current house, and then we moved and bought the 75 acres. The reason why I bring that up is because I was passionate. I had a purpose. I had a plan. I was prepared, and I was even willing to go through the process. But that hiccup of that setback,
took that persistence.
That was major.
It was a place where I had to be persistent.
Right.
I couldn't give up because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about the lives that I have the opportunity to impact.
Your why. Back to your why.
Exactly. If I would have given up, then potentially 8,000 young men and 8,000 young women would not have an opportunity to connect with the horse. They would not have an opportunity to get services where they're therapeutic riding and discover, equine therapy and things of that nature. So when you're looking at your life, don't look at the hurdles that come into your life as an opportunity to stop you. Think about the people that need your product, that need your services, that need your voice. Because I have a finger. Every human being has a fingerprint. And everywhere I go, I touch something and I leave my fingerprint. The question becomes, what is going to be your fingerprint to let the world know that you were here and that you made a difference?
I want to say something. I'm gonna throw you a softball and let you knock it out the park real quick. Because I just learned this in this short period of time that we've been on this broadcast. There's actually a misnomer out there about horses, and I was under this impression myself. People say horses, nobody should buy horses because they're really useless. They're just there to look at. There's nothing to do with horses. I've always heard that, and I thought that, like, what I'm saying? Other animals, you breed them, you can eat them. You know what I'm saying? Chickens lay eggs. Get beef from the cows, and you know what I'm saying? All these other farm animals can actually produce, you know what I'm saying, income and all of that for you. But horses, I always thought people just had horses just to show off.
That is once again, that's a misnomer. Right. So in my training, they teach us that horses are not tools, but they are partners. And this goes right back to how men see women. Many times men see women as objects or things to use at their disposal rather than an actual partner. And so that just the way you said, oh, horses don't serve no purpose. That's why so many women are saying now, men don't like women. I've heard this saying for the last 3 weeks or a month. Oh, men don't even like women. Men don't even y'all just use us for our body parts. Now there are some that do that, but just like the person is saying in the comments, horse can also pull and mules and do things on the land. There is, when you understand the partnership of it. That's why we call the power in the engine of a car, what do we call it? Horsepower.
Horsepower.
Because it was horses that got us to and fro places that we needed to go when we didn't have cars. So horses are what we call sentient beings. They feel. If you were to come around one of my horses right now, one of my therapy horses right now, and just get you to brush the horse a little bit and I'll tell you to do some things. I can tell you a whole bunch of things about yourself that you'd be like, man, how does this dude know that?
Your horse.
And it's all because I'm in tune with the horse, and as I'm in tune with the horse, I know exactly what's going on with you. So I can pose. I'll start asking you questions, and as I start asking questions, your body's going to give off energy because when you think about something, your body goes into motion, and then even your body gives off chemicals. So the horse is going to start. Maybe the horse starts fidgeting. Maybe the horse move to the side, or whatever the case might be. And then as we talk more, then I'll start giving. Then I'll say, "Hey, Sincere, have you ever did X, Y, and Z?" You'll be like, "Yeah." I'll be like, "Okay." And then I'll just keep on talking, and we're having a constant conversation. And by the end of our conversation, I said, "Well, based upon all the information that I've gathered, this is what you're dealing with in your life, and this is what's going on." And most of the times, people have a jaw-dropping experience. And had a young lady come out, and so we just walking with the horse. We just picked the dirt road, and she's leading the horse, and I'm talking. And as I'm talking, she doesn't even realize what's going on, and I'm watching the horse and his and how he's walking, and then in another instance, he picked up his pace with the walk, and then he slowed down again. And so I'm reading all of this, I'm talking to her, and she just think we having a conversation. And so by the end of the conversation, I said I gave her a list of 3 things that she needed to do. And I told her about some relationship issues that she would have. She was like, "Man," she said, "You good." She said, "Because I didn't even say this, but you figured out that." I said, "I don't know you, but I know horses. And because I know horses, I know how to connect the dots of what you may be experiencing." So horses serve a great purpose. You just have to learn that they are more than a tool. They're actually a partner with anything that you may want to do.
I do have a question though.
Sure.
Do people eat horse meat? I hear that. I've never seen it in the store, but do they?
Yeah, people do eat horse meat in other countries, but most predominantly here in the U.S., we do not eat horse meat.
Got it.
And the thing about it is, I get people that come to the ranch all the time that they heard this from their uncle, or they heard this from somebody. And horses, I think, are one of the most misunderstood creatures in the world because they get a bad rep. They do, because there are TikTok videos of a horse being throwing somebody off. There are videos of a horse kicking somebody. There are videos of this, but we rarely see what that person did before. Or you put somebody on an untrained horse. And so all these different things, we're like, "Oh, I don't like that's called a stereotype." And if anybody should not embrace stereotypes, it's Black people.
Yes.
So you don't want to be judged because what Bobo and Junebug did down the street. So give each horse an individual chance and give them an opportunity to find out. So somebody had a question: do horses produce dung for farmers can use? Yes, they do. If you need some compost, I got a bunch that you can just bring your truck. I'll load you right on up, and it's great fertilizer. Great fertilizer.
I didn't even know what that word meant. So Jackson got the farm vernacular.
Right.
Yep. So keep questions coming. Let's roll.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys got questions, just put them in the chat. We'll get them.
Well, I have another question.
Sure.
With these gas prices, would a horse be a good investment right now?
No, not at all. Not at all. I see a lot of that. Let me tell you something about gas. Something about a horse is way more expensive than a car. Way more expensive. Now I have 13 horses. And these 13 horses, the bill just to feed them alone is probably about $2,000 to feed all my horses, just to feed them. I'm not talking about vet bills. I'm not talking about taking care of their feet, but it's about $400 every week to feed the 13 horses. And then we have hay, then you have supplements, and then you have the shavings that go inside the stall. So it is a lot. So paying $100 at the pump, go ahead and pay $100 at the pump, and because horses are very expensive.
Wow.
Yeah. But man, you was flowing, and a lot of the questions that I wanted to ask, you kind of touched on, pretty much a lot of what I wanted to ask you. But
right,
I do want to get the complete origin story.
oh.
You know what I'm saying? I know you talked about, your I think you said your grandparents had a farm when you were younger, and that's how you got acquainted with horses, and also the different types of horses. Because you said that the equine, that's a type of horse, right?
Equine is just it's just an umbrella term for horses.
That's an umbrella term for horses.
But
Okay.
the types of horses, there's over 300 breeds of horses. So with there
which
being
ones are more suitable for the therapy that you do?
Any horse, any breed of horse can be suited for therapy. I have 4 breeds of horses on my ranch. I have a breed called Tennessee Walkers, and that is what you call a gaited horse. So if you're on TikTok and you see a horse and the guy, he's in a driver's seat and the horse is running like their 2 front legs are running like humans, that's what you call a gaited horse, because they're just sitting on the horse and the horse is just rocking. There is what you call non-gaited horses. So non-gaited horses make up the bulk of the horse breeds. Non-gaited horses are what you see in the Kentucky Derby. These are your race horses, your quarter horses, your Mustangs, your cutting horses. And when they run, it's more of a brum, 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 brum. When a gaited horse runs, it's more of a tick, 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 because their legs move like human. When you see their front 2 legs, it's moving like a human running. But when it's a non-gaited, it's more ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum. So there's a rhythm to it. And so on our ranch, we have Tennessee Walkers, we have thoroughbreds, we have warm bloods, and then we have a Percheron, which is a draft horse. Now, a draft horse is those big horses that you see on the Budweiser commercial, the Clydesdale. That's in the draft horse family. Or if you're in downtown Atlanta and you see the big horses pulling the carriages, that is in a draft horse family. So those are horses, they are bred for moving and pushing stuff and carrying heavy items. And so we have one of those on our ranch. We actually serve a population that is underserved within the Black community, not within the Black community, but the equine community. And what that is that when you go to the average horse horse trail or horseback riding arena, they'll tell you that the capacity that they will ride is between 250 and 285. So because we have larger horses, we're able to serve people up to 350 pounds. So a lot of our plus size sisters and plus size brothers get an opportunity to ride because we have those girthier horses. So I love doing that because as a person that is not average size, I know what it feels like to be told no because of my size. So we have larger horses. And so if you're 300 up to 350 pounds, we can give you a ride. Now, if you're over 350 pounds, riding horses should not be the first thing on your agenda. First thing on your agenda is trying to get under 350 pounds.
A bicycle.
You're right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, that brings to mind a question though, because oftentimes I see online, you see animal lovers and stuff like that complaining about people riding elephants at these certain amusement attractions and stuff like that. They're saying that this is not good for the elephants. It just looks like people are just having fun. I don't think they're intentionally trying to abuse the animal.
Yeah,
is it cool?
That is not that is not a physical thing. That is a mental thing for the elephants. So the typically with elephants, a lot of those elephants are abused in order to be able to do that. So many of those instances, like I said, a horse doesn't respond. Horse doesn't like the pressure. So that's how we actually train horses. We put a certain amount of pressure on them, and I'm not talking about weight. I'm just talking about my physical presence in order to manipulate them to do something. And then when we do that, now they're getting into the place of they're getting conditioned to understand what we want them to do. So the elephant thing is more of a mental thing and not a physical thing.
Got you. Because I'm like, okay, how you hurting the elephant? Okay.
And riding horses can also be physical as well, because the riding, the galloping as you're going. I hear that you can get a little sore
You
all over after
can't,
that
yeah,
ride.
you can't. But see, if you get sore if you are riding and you don't know what you're doing. So when you're actually riding a horse, you're working a lot of muscles that you normally don't work because we have an expression. You ride your feet, not the seat. So what that means is when you're riding on a horse, we have an expression that we call heels down, toes up, and we actually sell those. We sell the shirts when people come and ride. It says "I rode heels down, toes up" at Soofa Ranch. What that basically means is you put the pressure in your feet with your heel down and your toe up in the stirrup. So when you're riding this horse, you're not just like sitting up on the horse. You're not in a Cadillac. You put a little pressure in your feet where it raises your butt off the seat a little bit to take the pressure off the horse and to take the pressure off of you, so that if the horse does do a little rhythm, then your butt will hit the seat in a rhythm and not just be up there banging it out. So yeah. So when you take lessons, but when you're just doing a trail ride, you're just sitting back and relaxing and letting the horse do the work. But when we're actually taking lessons, we teach people techniques on how to minimize that pressure on riding the horse. And many times people come out here and they don't realize, because the especially ladies, your legs are in a awkward position or in a position that you're not necessarily used to. And so they're like, oh my gosh, my legs are hurt. So you're spreading your hips and your I forgot what muscle it is. It's some flexor muscle. And then when you're spreading your hips like that, it can become uncomfortable. But that's just an indication of a place that you just need to stretch. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a couple of horseback rides before, but nothing where you really getting it in. You know what I'm saying? Really riding.
Yeah, we save getting it in for experienced riders. We don't. We take you on a nice slow pace. Now, if you know how to ride, I will take you through that. But if you are a novice rider, then we'll keep it slow and keep it a nice therapeutic pace.
I've only been on a pony, and that was when I was like 7 years old. Every black kid has the picture with the little hat on the pony.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's the only horse I've been on.
So I tell people all the time. People tell me that all the time. That last time I was on a horse, I was 6 years old. I was 7 years old. I said, "Well, you're an adult now, so we're gonna act like you ain't never been on a horse, and I'll give you all the tips and tools that you need to do to protect yourself and to have a good experience."
So also on your page, I saw your fundraiser. I wanted to kind of get into that. What's that for? How can we and the audience and others get involved in that? Let's talk about the fundraiser.
So the fundraiser, we have a budget of a $2.85 million over the next 3 years. What that $2.8 million encompasses is, once again, we are focusing on a holistic experience of mental health using nature, horses, and agriculture. So what that 2.8 million covers, it covers our programs that we offer for horseback riding experiences. In addition to that, we also have a summer camp that is coming up. And so you have the opportunity to sponsor a child going to the summer camp. Also, that encompasses the capital improvements that we need to make to the property, our horseback riding arena. Then also we also have the initiative with our what we call our immersion experiences, where we'll be building tiny houses where a person can come out here, check in on Friday, ride horses on Saturday, take a nature hike through the woods, and check out on Sunday, and really help them disconnect from the world. And over the course of the next 3 years, we will be building a facility where we have the opportunity to house those children that are coming to the summer camp. So right now, our summer camp is a day camp. You come in the morning and then you leave in the afternoon. But we want to be able to provide an immersion experience where you can actually spend the night out here and really take it all in. So we have to build those facilities to be able to house at least 20 kids in those campers. But also, those campers will also serve as a dual use when they're not in use for the summer. We'll also be able to provide leadership training to corporations that want to come out and bring their leaders, and we'll show and teach leaders how to become better communicators, how to teach them how to connect with their employees better. So the facility will have a multi-purpose use, but we'll also have an opportunity to really engage in those equine assisted learning services and build connection, build confidence, and build character within their leaders.
Yes, indeed. Nice.
So you can go to we are a 501c3 organization, and you can go to our website, click the give button if you'd like to find out more about it. We also have, if you have stocks, it's not a if you like to donate through stocks, you also have the option. Just give us a call and we'll give you all that information. But we're getting ready to make that information available on the website. Some people we've had people where they sold they gave us their Apple stocks, and we cashed in those Apple stocks and was able to take a donation of $7,000. So that is a feasible donation as well. So it's so many different ways that you have an opportunity to give, and all our giving is once again tax deductible because we are a federally recognized 501c3 organization.
Yes, indeed. Now, in addition to the stock incentive, the tax incentive, what would incentivize people to want to go the stock route?
That's what you said. It's the tax route. The stock route is basically if you were to take those taxes out, or if you
capital gains,
it's capital gains tax. So
right.
If you just transfer those, portions of the stock, it's a write-off, and then you don't have any capital gains tax that you have to pay at the end of the year. So rather than giving it to the government, give it to an organization where we are making a difference in the lives of people that we come in contact with.
That's game right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's game right there.
Yeah. So we have a number of people who want to support us and say, I'm not very liquid right now, but they may have some top stocks that they got tied up and they want to make a donation. They can go ahead and do that. And it's a great way to be an asset to our organization that is, like I said, affecting and changing lives in Metro Atlanta.
Yeah, he answered that one, Jackson. I think you said the weight limit was 250?
350.
350. 350 pounds.
Yes, sir.
And I seen somebody made a petty comment in here.
Petty comment.
Has Lizzo visited the ranch?
Well, Lizzo has not visited the ranch, and I don't know how much Lizzo weighs, but definitely
shout out to Lizzo.
Yeah, if she is under the 350 mark, she's definitely welcome to come out to the ranch and have a great experience. We've had people, like I said, I've had young ladies who were in tears that were plus size because they thought they would never be able to ride a horse. So once again, that's one of those things where we try to serve that underserved population, where like, hey, they thought they'll never be able to get on a horse, and and most women think they heavy anyway. They could be 150. And they be like, "Ooh, am I gonna hurt this horse? Oh, child, get your behind on this horse and let's ride." Because that's your hang up. And see, like if we were in a therapy or coaching session, that's what we call projection. You're projecting your self-consciousness, your insecurities, and now that's how you show up in the world. One of the things I hate doing or hate seeing is a woman tugging on her clothes, or just doing all of this, or trying to hide her stomach. Boo, we see you. We know you big, or we know you that size. You not
ain't nobody tripping.
Yeah, trying to hide your little pudge and your little fupa. Boo, it is what it is.
Yeah, embrace the fupa.
Embrace it. and most dudes I know ain't worried about that fupa.
Right.
So hey, at the end of the day, if you exude the confidence. Now, I'm not telling you to come out here and be crazy with it, but I'm just saying it is what it is. And think about it. Put it like this. If you're not doing anything about it to change, don't need much talk about it. Right. If you on the track, or you at the gym, or you whatever, all right, cool, fine. Just say, hey, I'm working on myself, yada, yada, yada. But if you eating biscuits with gravy, talking about, oh, child, I need to lose this weight, you ain't trying to lose no weight. You're trying to enjoy them biscuits and gravy. Right. So let that go.
Good point.
How much does the average horse weight?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
How much does the average horse weight, like adult horse?
The average size horse is between 800 to 1,000 pounds.
Okay.
So my horses, the average weight of my horses is 1,000 pounds to 1,400 pounds. So the rule of thumb,
and they straight muscles.
Yeah, the rule of thumb is a horse can carry up to 20 to 25% of their weight. Wow. So, like I said, unless you 400 something pounds, you ain't hurting my horses.
So I know you said, was it NBC or ABC? Somebody did a story on you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten any high profile people that we might know about come out to the ranch yet? Bring their family out?
No high profilers yet. I had some low profilers. I've had NBC executive, BET executives, people with money.
Being down, close to this area, I'm surprised, like T.I. or somebody like that ain't been out there with their family yet. But I'm sure it's coming.
It's coming. We're ready to accept it. We're ready for some corporate sponsorships. If you want to sponsor some stuff, go ahead. We got plenty of things that can be sponsored and just embrace. Like I said, we work in the mental health space to help people overcome anxiety, build confidence, and build connection. And horses are one of those vehicles that many people really don't know or really don't understand the benefits of it. And that's why we exist. We exist to bring that awareness and the benefits of mental equine therapy and equine assisted learning. So at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, a partnership with us is great exposure to the community of Metro Atlanta and the community at large of people of color, because once again, people of color are responsible for over $2.8 trillion in spending dollars. Right. And so with that, it's very important that we spend that money within our community and help people understand, hey, we're not just, trying to get on horses and just take people through the woods. We're trying to provide an experience and an atmosphere where people can actually change their lives when riding their horses. And that's one of the things that we really try to do. Like I said, we've reached over 2,000 people within the last year alone with all our equine assisted learning services. And over the course of the next 3 years, we want to be able to reach 8,000. So imagine just alone my Facebook advertising, 42,000 views over the last 6 months, or not 6 months, but last couple of months, right? And so those are eyes. Those eyes represent dollars. Those dollars represents homes. And if advertisers, corporate sponsors, corporate entities want to get in the face or learn the ear of what, have a pulse to their viewer and pulse to their audience, Soofa Ranch is a great organization that they can get behind and become an opportunity to be a part of.
Good one, Jackson. I hear the original cowboys were black. How connected have you seen our community been with horses over the years?
So 2/3 of cowboys in the Old West were black. That is correct. They were black, Mexican, Latino. That particular the word cowboy is fundamentally a derogatory term, because white men were not called cowboys. They were called cattlemen. Cowboys were for black men, Mexicans, and so they would say things like, "Go get that cowboy," and that's where the term derived. Within that, even if you go further back, I made the sound earlier. That sound right there. That is a universal term or universal sound in which many people use when they're working with horses. That particular sound came from a tribe in Africa that was brought over here to train horses. The name of the tribe, it starts with the P. I can't think of it right now. But at the end of the day, that was the tribe that was brought over here to train horses to respond in a manner or to actually train horses. So it goes much deeper than just cowboys.
Yeah, that part I didn't know.
We just saw the movie
Harder They Fall.
The Harder They Fall, and they talked about most of the all of those people were in real life or really existed. And so my grandfather and my grandfather's father existed in that era. My grandfather was born in 1914. So that, my grandfather's father was born in like the late 1800s. And so that's kind of when that time was set. And the reason why I bring that up is because there's a rich history in horses, and especially with people of color. And so what we have to understand, that's one of the other things that we really want to do and help people understand. That's why so many black people really don't want to do with nature, because we've only associated nature and ground and land with slavery. We have a rich history of ownership. We have a rich history of being involved in just really understanding how to take care of things on the land. Yeah. So the peanut, that,
all types of herbs, medicines,
all that type of stuff. And so that's one of the things that we want to get back to with our summer camp program, showing young men, showing young women the origin of these things, and showing there's nothing to be ashamed of if you learn how to do something. They're like, "Oh, you're a country boy." That's not a bad thing.
Right.
That's not a bad thing. Just because I know how to do some things around the farm, or I know how to shuck peas, or I know how to plant corn, or whatever the case may be, that's not a bad thing. Because what happened if the world gets shut off and McDonald's don't happen no more? Guess who's still gonna be eating?
That part.
Exactly.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we have to teach our kids and this next generation those type of skills, so that they will have an opportunity to say, you know what, I don't have to do it, but I know how to.
Hey man, I want to I want to appreciate you for coming on today, man, and really gaming us up with all this information. You know what I'm saying? I really did. I'm definitely coming. I ain't that far away. That's a short ride for me and my family. I know we're gonna go out there and have some fun for sure. And I really didn't even know what to expect from this conversation today. You know what I'm saying? But definitely enjoyed this. Is there anything that we didn't think to ask, or that you didn't get a chance to touch on, that is important for people to know?
I don't think so. Just want to encourage people to follow us on social media, follow us go to our website, learn more about what we are doing. the work we do impacts the lives of so many people that they will have an opportunity to get to change their lives through equine services, equine therapy. And, like I said, we got a summer camp coming up. There's information on our website about that. Ages 9 through 17. Drop your kid off at 8. Come pick them up at 4 o'clock. And we're actually thinking about extending the time to that, so that persons will have a little bit more time to kind of relax a little bit. But at any given rate, it is a day camp, and there are scholarship opportunities available if you're financially have some hardships. There's a application that you would need to fill out, and then we'll see about subsidizing that particular portion of your tuition. And just learn more about us and who we are. Follow us, send us an email. We'd love to connect with you. And corporate sponsorships, don't hold back those dollars. Send them over to Soofa. Bam.
Right.
Wait a minute though. Wait. So I understand the summer camps for the kids and stuff, but what about for us? What about an adult camp? Even if it's just a day, a weekend, have you thought about having like a weekend camp for the adults to come out and experience this?
Well, see, I think you were offline when I talked about it, but we that's where the tiny houses come in.
Okay.
We're building that 3-year plan of building those tiny houses where you can come and plan a weekend, ride horses, go on a hike. Pick up some eggs from the chickens, play with a couple of alpacas, feed or milk the goats. That immersion experience is therapy as well.
That's gonna be dope.
And so it's just one of those things where, we already have a ride and stay experience. We have a bed and breakfast that's about 10 minutes away from here. So you check in Friday, ride horses on Saturday, get up to a country breakfast prepared by my mother. And she gonna throw down for you, and then you come over, ride horses, and then you got the rest of your afternoon to yourself. Go out and see the city or whatever. There's some other things within. We're right next door to Serenbe, so we are in that little nugget of community, and so there's a whole number of things that you get an opportunity to do within this area.
Well, my birthday is June 8th, so I plan on visiting around there. I'm in LA, by the way.
All right. Yeah. No. Well, here's the interesting thing. We've had people from Idaho, LA, Houston, New Jersey, Michigan, Washington State. People who see us on TikTok, like, oh, I'm coming there.
Yeah.
And that's we really appreciate their presence, and we don't take it for granted because we're an organization, a nonprofit organization in Metro Atlanta, and we're just trying to make the difference in the lives of people that we come into contact with. And so we truly appreciate everyone that comes far and wide to experience Soofa Ranch.
We will. I'm definitely coming.
And I know we wanted this down now, but you did mention that you were into relationship consulting, prior to this, and single brothers out there. I know this would be a date out there, don't you think, Nicely?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, like a good first date where you trying to get to know somebody.
Any prospects?
So we also have that experience as well, where you can book a horseback riding picnic package. So basically, you go riding for an hour with the horseback, and then after that, you have a nice little picnic in a nice little green area, and you're in the picnic tent, away from the mosquitoes and everything, and nice romantic. We get your little boom box and get you some fruit, some little what is it, charcuterie? Is that what it's called? Charcuterie? Yeah, some charcuterie, and just make it really a nice ambiance.
All right, nice. Future Bay, you hear that?
You hear that, Future Bay? Go ahead, set it up.
You hear that?
Yes, indeed. So we just got 2 more questions before we let you get out of here, brother.
All right.
Okay, no problem.
We'll end this thing in GodCast fashion, how we always do on the Black Business Showcase. Oh, let me put that back up there, though. You guys make sure that you following our brother at Soofa Ranch, or visit the website SoofaRanch.com. Ladies and gentlemen, but go ahead, Nicely.
What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom means liberty and options. Many times people think freedom is free, but freedom is never free. Freedom means that I have options and the liberty to do something. So it's important for me to embrace my freedom, but know the cost of my freedom.
I love that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I just wrote that in a song like yesterday. For real. Hold on, I gotta get this set up over here. Okay. And so now this is the part where I don't know if you're familiar with Summer Jam, but this is the part where I put you on the Summer Jam screen. And now we got to see if you can spit 16 bars real quick.
Oh heck no! I am not. I rap Christmas presents and birthday presents. I don't rap lyrics, baby.
No.
You about to get a straight nursery rhyme, Ron.
Nah, bro. So you got the microphone, man. The entire Black community can hear what it is that you have to say. What parting words would you like to leave us with tonight?
Understand the value of yourself. And many people in our present day and time have undervalued themselves. And because they undervalued themselves, they've allowed other people to undervalue themselves as well. So when you understand your value, no one else can take that value away. So understand your value, understand what you bring to the table, and know that you are valuable.
Nice.
Love that.
And by the way, you look like Isaac Hayes. I should have actually said
Right. Also, my father a little bit. I kid you, my father was a tall, dark-skinned, bald man, and
Yeah, I get Isaac Hayes all the time. All the time.
Man, for
I
real.
get Isaac Hayes all the time. So yeah. His son actually lives here in Atlanta as well, I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Isaac Hayes Jr. Yeah. I think he's in politics or something too.
Nah,
he was campaigning for somebody or something.
Yeah, he's in music and radio right now.
Okay.
I know he has a podcast too.
Yes, indeed. Well, family, we appreciate y'all tapping in with us. This was another great episode of the Black Business Showcase. Again, we are here every Wednesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And y'all can check us out on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on Sincere Love the GodCast. Make sure you all are following me. I'm at Sincere Love the God on all social media platforms. My co-host at Nicely Girl #1 on Instagram, and without the #1 on all other platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, again, make sure you hit the like button, share this out on your social media platforms, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new content. What we got coming up tomorrow, Nicely Girl?
Tomorrow we have Surreal Self-Defense tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Also, make sure you guys support our brother Daryl Fletcher's fundraiser. Again, any sponsors, corporate sponsors, private sponsors, everybody, make sure you support our brother here. I will definitely be visiting this summer because I like the heat, so I want to come out there when it's hot. I'm weird. But yes, tomorrow, everybody, we will have Surreal Self-Defense on the Sincere Love the GodCast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you to the chat. We love y'all. Thank you for supporting.
Yes, indeed. And one last time, I want to thank you, brother, for allowing us to get all up in your Black business.
Yes, sir.
My pleasure.
To the family, remember, we are not the master teachers. We are only the master students and signal boosters for the voices of the new Black media. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Do for self or suffer the consequences. The wisdom of Elijah's inside of the conscientious. So I move.
That was nice.